Jonathan Taylor recently just requested a trade from the Indianapolis Colts, and it's a very messy situation. I think Jim Irsay, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, has just decided to plug in, his candidacy for being arguably maybe the worst owner in the National Football League. Like, I think that he's gunning towards that title as we speak, because it's been very despicable hearing the news regarding Jonathan Taylor and Jim Irsay. And it's really embarrassing for not only Jim Irsay, but the Colts organization in general. Listen, Jonathan Taylor had a down season this past year, I will admit that. But Jonathan Taylor is a darn good football player. And if you don't believe Jonathan Taylor is an elite running back in the National Football League, at this point, he's pretty darn close. We can at least make the argument that he's kind of at least in that ballpark, okay? That's something we'll agree upon right here, right now. Now, because Jonathan Taylor has requested a trade, I'm not going to get into the Colts side of things anymore. I want to talk about the team that I believe should be banging the door to make a Jonathan Taylor trade right now as we speak today. If the Buffalo Bills want to win a Super Bowl, they will make a trade for Jonathan Taylor. Let me explain myself. The Buffalo Bills have a lot of great pieces. Josh Allen, very good quarterback, maybe even elite at this point in his career. They have a great defense. The weapons are there. The coaching is pretty solid. Buffalo has been so darn close these past couple of years in the Josh Allen era of knocking on that Super Bowl door. And I believe Jonathan Taylor could be the piece to put them over the hump, because the Buffalo Bills have really struggled to take pressure off of Josh Allen. As far as, Josh Allen has been the passing game. He's been the big time playmaker that we know he can be, but he's also taken upon a lot of their rushing abilities on offense. He's taken on the run game. He's essentially been kind of like a running back at some points for the Buffalo Bills. He's been a one-man show with that offense. If the Buffalo Bills want to win a Super Bowl, they will need to find a way to make life easier for Josh Allen and take the pressure off of him. Why not go get a guy like Jonathan Taylor, who is a home run hitter, who can absolutely carry your rushing attack if you need him to? Let's not forget, just a season ago, Jonathan Taylor pretty much carried the Indianapolis Colts to a winning record. Okay, and a couple of years ago, they were in the playoffs with Jonathan Taylor dominating when Phillip Rivers was the quarterback. You paired Jonathan Taylor with the likes of Josh Allen at quarterback, Stephon Diggs on the outside at wide receiver. This is a scary, scary situation. And I think that the Buffalo Bills would be among the favorites to win the Super Bowl. You can make the argument they're already kind of in that conversation, but we've kind of been hearing some things about Stephon Diggs, not necessarily being satisfied with the team, his targets. There's been some, off the field locker room kind of dysfunction between Sean McDermott and the players. The best way to send a message positively into the season, if you're the Buffalo Bills front office, is going out and getting Jonathan Taylor. Because if you do that, you're signaling to that coaching staff and those players, we are all in to win a Super Bowl, and let's go get that darn Lombardi trophy. It would be the missing piece the Buffalo Bills need, and I believe it could be the piece to finally get them over the hump in a very competitive division, in a very competitive AFC conference. And I know the pushback is on running backs right now among people in the media, NFL analysts, NFL observers, scouts. Listen, I'll be the first to tell you, you do not need a great running back to win a Super Bowl. And you can say, oh, the likes of Adrian Peterson, hasn't come close to winning a Super Bowl. The likes of Saquon Barkley hasn't come close to winning a Super Bowl. I'd argue a lot of those great running backs have not even been on teams and in situations to where they will be even close to competing for a Super Bowl. If you put Saquon Barkley with Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, do you mean to tell me that team gets worse? Okay, I think that we're overthinking things here with the running back situation, people. Adrian Peterson was playing with Christian Ponder as his quarterback. He was never going to win a Super Bowl. So this idea that great running backs can't contribute to winning, I think it's a little bit falsified. Now, again, would I much rather contribute resources elsewhere to my team besides paying an elite running back? I believe so, because if you have a great offensive line, most of these running backs are interchangeable, and most guys can make that work. Jonathan Taylor is an exception to the rule. He's a problem solver at the running back position. We're talking about a guy with elite speed, elite power, elite vision. he pretty much can put an offense on his entire back for a game or two. And I believe come postseason time, where the weather gets a little bit windy, it gets a little bit colder, maybe it's hard to pass the football if you're going on the road to Kansas City, maybe you're in snowy Buffalo, Jonathan Taylor can be that problem solver for you. And I would honestly, if I'm the Buffalo Bills, if Jonathan Taylor wants to be paid, I'd pay the guy, because you're signaling to your team and Josh Allen that we're all in and we're going to put the requisite pieces around you. If the Buffalo Bills can afford to pay Jonathan Taylor and get him on that roster, then I by all means do it. I know some people are very hyped about James Cook. I think James Cook is a good player, but he's the perfect trading piece. A guy like James Cook is a little bit unproven, and I would rather much get the borderline to elite commodity in Jonathan Taylor, as far as, opposed to relying on kind of a young player that maybe could hit, but we don't know much about him. So if I'm the Buffalo Bills, I would do everything in my power to go all in to try to win a Super Bowl by improving that running game, because the run game has been a mess for the Buffalo Bills these past couple of years. They have not had a true running game. It has not been a balanced offensive attack. It's been the Josh Allen show, and we all know, as great as Josh Allen is, the more you put on his plate, just like any other quarterback pretty much in the NFL, outside of a couple, he's prone to make mistakes. So Jonathan Taylor, he would improve that passing game, he would improve that run game, and he'd be the perfect guy that, okay, if we have a lead versus Patrick Mahomes in the fourth quarter with 3 minutes to go, and we have the football and we need to close this game out, we're going to pound that rock with Jonathan Taylor, and we're going to go to the Super Bowl. So I think the Buffalo Bills, they would be one of the few teams that I believe should go all in to try to get Jonathan Taylor. Going all in is the route to go, people. The Golden State Warriors a couple of years ago went all in to acquire Kevin Durant, and they were much more closer to winning a championship compared to what the Buffalo Bills were. Teams that go all in have been rewarded of recent. The Dodgers, the Buccaneers, the Warriors, like I mentioned. The Buffalo Bills could be on that side of the spectrum if they trade for Jonathan Taylor, who I believe would be a perfect fit for their offense and could be the missing piece to get the Buffalo Bills over that Super Bowl hump.